So in order to make my videos relatable, I do myself down, you know, and I think it's been wise, as in, compared to how I used to when I first created YouTube videos. I used to be very condescending and talk down to people, and I got loads of haters and they got me put in jail. So, you know, I've kind of swung completely the other way this time, and I'm very self-deprecating, and I present the videos as if I'm struggling to, one, stop the hate, because people get very, you know, people don't like to see, particularly in England, they don't like to see somebody doing well. They don't like to feel that somebody is more advanced than them. That's their story, you know, I'm not even saying it's true, but, you know, they hate to feel inferior, and they get very jealous very easily. So I found that it's of benefit in terms of getting the message out there, in terms of making the message accessible, and in terms of getting views on videos. It's of benefit to come from a place of like, oh, I'm struggling with this, what's the answer? But I found, to be honest, I found the comments on the last video, whilst I really appreciate them and all that, I appreciate the time that's put in, I just couldn't respond to them, because most of them didn't get what I was saying. I even had one guy like saying, have you considered taking mushrooms? They help with mental health. So like, in that video I talked about that I was going to facilitate a mushroom trip for someone else. Like, it's like, do people even listen? It's yeah, it's a difficult one. But I guess I guess I'm just being honest and being really authentic. Like, this isn't good for the channel. This will probably lose subscribers, but I created this channel to be real. I created this channel to be authentic, and you know, there's a part of me that really doesn't want to say it because it will stop people commenting, which isn't good for the video. But, you know, generally I don't really need advice. Like, please keep commenting. It's good for the video. But you know, I know, I know. You know, there's not many comments I receive that are like, that answer my questions, or that are coming from a higher perspective than I've already achieved myself. And why do I say that? Why do I say that? I say that just in my dedication to authenticity and honesty, first and foremost. But also, I guess there's a sadness. You know, there's a sadness for when you speak on these levels and you assume that the people watching, and of course there will be some, get it. And that there might even be some connection through it, and then you get all these comments, I mean particularly the Christian ones, where like, you know, you share this deep wisdom, this deep experiential wisdom with a truth and a vulnerability that you'll just never find in a church, and then you just get, have you forgotten that Jesus saves? Like, just dogma, just complete dogma. I'm just going to show you this beautiful pond. You know, I really don't want to say it because, you know, there's still this fleshy part of me. There's still this fearful part of me, this human part of me, this egoic part of me that, you know, just wants the channel to be a success. And obviously, you know, saying stuff like this is only going to trigger people, get people to unsubscribe and stop commenting. But then it leaves me with this, like, well, this lack of desire to create content because I'm not being authentic, I'm not being real, I'm not speaking the truth, and yeah, it's a real difficult position. Up until now, I've done myself down for the good of the channel, and I think I'm done with that. I think I'm ready to start acknowledging where I'm at in this life, and that there's not much I don't know in terms of what is offered to me by other humans. Of course, there's loads I don't know in terms of the cosmos and consciousness and what that can teach me through stillness, through nature, through this. But yeah, the days of like people being able to teach me anything, like, they're pretty much done. They're pretty much done. And obviously that's not true. There are some people that can offer me great reflections and have a higher consciousness than myself. But you know, they are so few and far between. And in general, they're not really in the YouTube comments. So yeah, I'm just being honest, I'm just being truthful. I'm not trying to slag anyone off, I'm not trying to knock anyone. Like, The only reason I know all this stuff is because I've been at every single stage up until the stage I'm at now. Obviously there's way more stages, and when people comment from stuff I've already experienced as if they're telling me something, you're just like, I mean, it's just gobsmacking, really. And I think there's also just a detachment from, oh, being a YouTuber, oh, can I make it on YouTube? Because, like I said, once you've experienced it and you've done it, like, that energy dissipates within you. So before there was like, I need to respond to every comment and acknowledge every comment, you know, for the good of the channel. Well, that's just gone. Like, there's just a trust now. It's moved towards a trust that the content is good enough that people will just comment anyway because they want to comment and chat with each other, and I don't really need to get involved in that. I think that's ultimately what it is. It's just yeah, just accepting that I'm a content creator, and enough energy goes into that. Like, truly, it's a big energetic thing putting yourself out on the internet, especially when you're so open and so vulnerable. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. I don't need to do any more. So yeah, do forgive me if I don't respond to your comment. But I just can't do it anymore. I can't experience that deflation of like, oh, this one doesn't get it, and the frustration of like the egoicness in it, like I need to be the person that tells him, I need to be the, you know, it's all this one-upmanship, it's all this like, I need to show how wise I am, and in 90% of the cases they actually show how conditioned they are. So yeah, probably not good for the channel, probably not what most of you want to hear, but it's the truth, and that's what I'm here to speak. Please like and subscribe if you appreciate truth. I've just remembered there was one comment that finished me off. You know, I read 3 and I responded to them, and then I read one where it was a response to another person's comment, and she was like just totally condescending me, you know. So I'd spoken vulnerably and openly about like a tough point that I'd found in my life, you know, surrendering to nothingness, and rather than going with it, I resisted it. And she was like, I bet he's never even considered joining a church and helping old ladies. Like, oh, it's such a low level of consciousness. If you honestly think that that is more worthwhile than the service that I give by speaking to thousands of people with a wisdom and openness and a vulnerability that very few people have ever experienced in their lives, but you think I'd be better served shuffling chairs around for old fucking plebs, my gosh. And if you think I haven't done that, if you think I haven't been through those stages and realised that it isn't service, you know, it is on one level, and it's lovely on one level, like, good on you. Like, it was only a few months ago that I was part of a church homeless service, and I was wiping piss up because I couldn't even piss in the toilet, and I was in it, I was doing it, you know. It wasn't, I didn't resist it, I quite enjoyed it, but I realised I wasn't serving anything in terms of consciousness. I wasn't raising any vibration. I was literally just enabling people to be victims. You know, it just such low level. And if you put your energy into stuff like that, you think you can do stuff like this? Like, just the disconnect and the judgment that comes from such a low level of experience, such a low level of consciousness, such a low level of risk-taking, of bravery, of doing something, you know, doing something outside the box. Like, no, yeah, don't do those YouTube videos that really help people and really, you know, help people break through their bullshit. Go and push some old ladies about. Ugh. Yeah, after that comment, I haven't read another one on either channel since, because I just can't give myself to it. I can't allow such a low vibrational energy into my life. Like, it just doesn't serve me in any way, and it takes away, it deflates. And it's not like there's no like reflection in there. There's no like, I'm not deflated because I'm seeing a truth. I'm deflated by the utter stupidity, the utter egoic projection when that's what I've been speaking about in the video, like psychology and projection and how it all works, and then someone just comes in with the ultimate projection. Like, they spend their time pushing old ladies around and telling themselves that that's the pinnacle of service, and therefore when somebody comes on and completely outshines them and shows them what real service is, they have to like project onto it, they have to knock it, and they have to tell me that pushing old ladies around is a better level of service. I just can't even be in that vibration. I can't be in that level of stupidity. Now, I'm sure this is extreme. I'm sure I'm definitely going through a detachment. There's definitely going to be less interaction in the comments from me. But I think this utter repulsion that I'm feeling right now is probably an extreme side of it, and I'll probably get more into balance of it and will respond to a few comments. And I'm on a rant now. When I did that homeless work, I only did it for 1 week because it was just such a shit show. Because none of them were homeless. You know, it was like the church put on every other Sunday this meal for homeless people. It's how it was advertised. None of them were homeless. Like, the homeless couldn't even make it there. They were all just benefit scroungers. You know, they were all just complete victims, down and outs. And yes, there's lots of sad stories there. Yeah, of course I can see all that. And they're just victims at the end of the day. As in, they have a victim mindset and they're determined to be victims. And yeah, I was sat in this room like serving these people. I was just like, you're not even homeless. And that didn't really even come up at the time. There was an intellectual acknowledgement of it, but I was so into the church and Christianity at the time, and all these Christians that I was looking up to, who happened to be black, by the way, just interestingly, if you watch my other channel. You know, they were also into it, but I was just like, okay, yeah, this is fine. And I did a really good job. Like I said, I was the one wiping up piss, like, as in I noticed it and I did it. You know, I was the one probably serving the most. But in time, like, as I look back on it and just, you know, I was just like, what a joke that was. Like, that wasn't serving anything. It was just enabling victims to be scroungers. And really, the reason I've created this channel is for consciousness. It's for those that are deeply leaning in, for those that are deeply authentic, for those that are learning to surrender. And I've got to honour that. I've got to trust the universe. I've got to trust God. But if I do what seems bad for the channel, that actually that will be rewarded, because there's a fine percentage, a small percentage of people out there that are really ready for this content, and they're the ones I'm here to serve. You know, I'm not here to hold back. I'm not here to not offend Christians because it's bad for the channel. Like, no, I'm here to speak the truth, and that is what I'm gonna do. So I've just edited that, and yeah, it's quite ranty, and it is definitely extreme. Like, now that I've expressed it, as I'm watching it back, I'm like, oh, this isn't a fair reflection at all. Like, because there are loads of really good comments. I just want to be clear. Most of the comments are great, but I was focusing on the ones that had triggered me, so that's why it's so, like, I speak as if I'm saying it to all the commenters. That is not the case at all. I just want to be very clear about that. It's probably about 20%, 10-20% that trigger me. All right, lots of love. Thank you.